What is the structure of mitochondria, and what are the functions of the separate compartments and membranes? As we know, mitochondria are the organelles in a cell that break down nutrients into energy that the cell can use. If a cell needs more energy, there will be more mitochondria in that cell. For example, muscle cells need more energy than neurons. Structurally, mitochondria are bounded by two membranes, one inside the other. These are known as the outer and inner membranes. They create two mitochondrial compartments called the matrix and the intermembrane space. Next, we will look at more specifics on each membrane and the compartments in the mitochondria.
So going off of what Mary said, there are many components that make up the mitochondria, and we're going to be going over the four main ones. So the first is the outer membrane, which surrounds the mitochondria, and it contains a protein called porin. And now porin makes large aqueous channels that allow certain molecules to go into the mitochondria. And these molecules are usually 5,000 daltons or less. You can kind of think of the outer membrane sort of as like a pasta strainer, and everything that you put in, like your pasta and your water, is all the molecules, and only the ones that are small enough can get through. Now, once you're in, you also have the inner membrane. And the inner membrane, unlike the outer membrane, is much less permeable. It's impermeable. And the only way that molecules can get through are through the help of specific transport proteins. Also, the inner membrane is the site of oxidative phosphorylation, and that means that proteins in the electron chain and also proteins in ATP synthase are concentrated there. It also has cristae, and cristae basically creates large folds within, and it kind of goes into the matrix, and it just increases the surface area. Now, speaking of the matrix, as you can see, there are certain molecules within the matrix, and like we said, the inner membrane is impermeable. The only way molecules can get in is with transport proteins. So the molecules that are in the matrix have to be selectively transported in there, and for that reason they are highly specialized. And these are molecules such as ribosomes and granules. The last component that we're going to talk about is the intermembrane space, and that's between the outer membrane and the inner membrane. Basically, the intermembrane space is kind of just like your cytosol, like the equivalent of a cytosol, and it's where molecules are that are small enough to get into the outer membrane, but they're not specialized enough in order to get through the inner membrane. So they're kind of just floating through over here. So these are the main components of the mitochondria. Like Mary said, the mitochondria is very important to the cell and to your body. So before we end, just want to reiterate how important the mitochondria is to the cell. The mitochondria makes up about 22% of the cell's volume, and it's also what produces ATP for the cell, so basically gives the cell energy. Now, the number of mitochondria within the cell actually depends on what it does. So if the cell needs more energy, then obviously there's going to be more mitochondria that come with it. But overall, mitochondria is necessary in every single cell in order to produce ATP.